when you talk to someone that you've never met, that is feeling a way, that you've created a space for them to have an emotion or a feeling or a connection or whatever that word is that they didn't have when they walked in. That's cool.
Welcome back to Behind the Decks. We are here with the one and only Nick Gunz, and so I'm excited to get into his backstory. Nick, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. I don't know if I'm the one and only. We'll see. Google doesn't say that, but we'll see.
As long as you got the domain and you could claim that. Yeah. I'm always curious, just mentioning that, like what inspired the name.
It's a horrible story. So I late 90s, I was living on the West Coast.
Okay.
And there was this hip hop song. It was by Lord Tariq and Peter Gunz.
Yeah.
Right? You remember that? It was like a New York song, but like it reached.
Was that the one with the Mario sample?
It might have been. But I remember the music video was like in a baseball stadium, and I was like young and dumb and thought it was so cool. And I'm like, you know what? I think I should be Nick Gunz. Yeah. And for a while it was Nick E. Gunz. Okay. Right? When everyone was like, almost like I had a middle name. Yeah. Until people started asking me what the middle name was. And like, we're just going to drop that. Okay. Yeah.
So where'd you grow up?
I grew up in southeastern Wisconsin, kind of equidistant between Milwaukee and Chicago. Okay. A little town called Elkhorn, Wisconsin. So it was kind of this middle of nowhere, but also like close enough to two things that were happening. Yeah. Where, you know, some people grow up in the middle of nowhere and they're literally in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. This was kind of 45 minutes in either direction from something happening. Yeah. So, yeah.
So when you grow up in a place like that, you don't realize what you're missing until you get older and you realize you go out and experiment. Like I grew up just outside New York City and it was in my backyard. So I was like, as soon as I'm legal, I'm heading there. Yeah. So what was that like for you? And like, did you have your eyes on bigger cities?
Yeah. I mean, I think growing up is weird, right? Like there's no way around it. Yeah. You kind of have to figure out what path you're going to go on. But so grew up in a small town and it was a different time because as soon as I got a license, like I had freedom. Yeah. But there was no cell phones. Yeah. There were no air tags. There was no, find my family. It was, I had the keys to my car and I was out as long as I could put gas in the car. And so I think, I had aspirations of being in Chicago and being in Detroit and being in all these, LA, going out west. But I also had these aspirations of being in more wild places. Okay. But I think something about growing up in the country, you're like, oh, I wonder what a mountain looks like. Right? When you grow up in the middle of cornfields. TV, yeah, right? So much the same as you would think about, like, I wonder what, New York City looks like. Yeah. I wonder what the mountain looks like. Yeah. And I wonder and so I think it just created this more so than like, I'm going to head for the city. Mm-hmm. It was, I want to explore and experience all these different things. Mm. Yeah.
What was that first car?
Oh man, it was a Plymouth. What was it? It was a two-door hatchback. Okay. Plymouth. Oh man. But it was a 5-speed.
Oh, okay.
And to this day, I thank my father. We got that car. I thought the car was so cool. Yeah. Actually, I would like to drive that car now, but I thought that car was so cool. And he made me take my driver's license test on a 5-speed. And so here I am, 16 years old, parallel parking. But right, all of a sudden, then I'm 16 years old in the city with a car that I can parallel park in a 5-speed, and hit the highway and do all those things. Yeah. Wish I still had that car. I wish I could just hold on to all the cars and have a collection, but I'm not that guy.
It's a fun memory of your first car, and it's basically the connection to independence. And like you said, like before then, you're like having to ask for a ride. And so, did the car have a tape player or a CD player?
You're giving me flashbacks. So I had a tape deck put into the car.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So the car didn't come stock with a tape deck, but those were the days where you'd go and have either you and your buddies or Best Buy at that point, like would install car stereos, I think. But yeah, I put a tape deck into that car, and 16 years old, you can only afford, right? Like I think I could afford the $59 tape deck. Yeah. And I'll never forget the tape got stuck in the tape deck. But I learned that tape forwards and backwards because that was what I listened to.
What was it?
It was Terry Mullen New School Fusion Volume 2. Okay. And it became still to this day is one of my favorite mixtapes. Yeah. because I probably listened to it like 500 times. Right?
Yeah.
It was the thing.
Yeah. What were your earliest musical influences?
So I think early on, like if I'm thinking about being a kid, like young kid, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she kind of worked all these not odd jobs, but weird jobs. So weird jobs, right? And so I remember her delivering phone books.
Oh, wow.
Right? Which is like, talk about two things that
That's
just don't happen anymore. It's like delivering phone books, if there was only a place to get all that information now. But like, and she had a Volkswagen Beetle, like one of the old ones.
Yeah.
And the back window cranked up. Yeah. Like a sunroof would.
Oh, okay.
And she'd let me lay back there without a seatbelt. As she delivered phone books, and she would listen to yacht rock.
Oh, I love
right? So cruising around, and I'm looking up at the trees, and it's like
Michael McDonald.
Rolling through. But I think my first kind of experience and exposure to house music and dance music, like I mentioned, growing up kind of in that sweet spot between Milwaukee and Chicago, was I was probably about a 20-minute drive from the furthest north point of where WBMX from Chicago, which was the Hot Mix 5.
Okay.
Where I could still get the broadcast.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm 16 years old, and I was able to drive to a place where I could tune in and hear it on the radio without having to go all the way.
Interesting.
And so I'd go from this place where it was like country and classic rock to all of a sudden, like, what is this? And I want more of it. Yeah.
And so do you remember, like, is that something you were naturally drawn to out of curiosity, or the trends introduced you to it? Or is it just like cruising the stations and you stumbled upon this sound?
It was cruising the stations and stumbling onto the sound, but then quickly realizing that I wasn't the only one that was hearing this. Right. And so it was a small pocket of people in that small town.
Yeah.
And I had some friends that were, probably a couple of years older than me in school. And then graduated and moved to Milwaukee, and all of a sudden they're living in an apartment with a bunch of guys, and then they're DJing, and then they're throwing parties, and kind of like, that was the weird connection of like, hey, I'm into this music. I don't really know what it means.
Yeah.
And then having friends, people I knew and trusted from this small town that were then moved to the Milwaukee, the big city, right?
Yeah.
And we're doing this thing, and it was, I then had the freedom to be able to go there and experience it and do it. And yeah.
So you were there in those early days as a consumer and as a listener, figuring out what this new sound is. When did you realize it's something you might want to like explore further, like go deeper, maybe start playing? Or were you curious when you saw friends DJing? Like, because that's the difference between like being on the dance floor and being behind the decks, and there's a different energy to both.
I think they both happen simultaneously. Like even like dancing, DJing, and promoting all happened at the same time.
Okay.
Because of these friends that I had, where it was, they had the turntable set up. And the first time, I remember clear as day, the first time I ever touched a turntable.
Yeah.
Right. And we're talking like going on 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Where like, I remember what it was. I remember the record that I played. Like, who remembers the record that I've like,
what'd you play?
That I played last? It was a Nitzareb record.
Oh, wow.
So it was like this weird industrial hardcore. Wasn't what I was into, but I had like, I think the idea of just gaining access to something, I didn't have access to that thing. And then all of a sudden I had access, and it was like, I'll play anything right now. Just like, let me explain to me what's happening.
Yeah.
And those same people then went on to throw, a bunch of rave parties. And it was, I want to be involved in that. I had no money to be involved in that, but I was willing to drive around and drop off flyers and stand outside places and hand them out and do that. And so all these things kind of happened all at the same time. So I went from being a, not connoisseur, but a consumer of the music to really understanding what at least a real early understanding of what the music was about, to then dance floor, to then like, hey, we're going to figure out how to get more people to come listen to this music. And so it was kind of this swirl where it all happened at the same time.
Did you need or was it important for you to have support in those early days, whether from family or from friends? I remember setting up my turntables in my basement. And it was playing so loud, my mom would have to flick the light switch on the top of the stairs because she'd yell down and I wouldn't hear her. But it was just like, but they supported me, and they were just like, okay, you got your habit, you got your hobby there. Let's see what happens.
I love that you called it a habit. That's beautiful.
It is.
I don't think my parents understood, but I think they wanted me to do whatever made me happy.
Sure. Yeah.
I remember I didn't have a table for my turntables, that they were set up on the floor.
Oh,
right?
wow.
For the first, 2 or 3 years that I owned turntables. And the turntables I owned weren't like, 1200s with a sliding pitch control.
Yeah.
They had a dial pitch control.
Okay.
They were Techniques, but I was able to adjust pitch with a dial, which was not very precise. But yeah, they were set up on the floor, and in the middle was a mixer with no crossfader.
Oh, man.
Right. And I had to figure this thing out. And I had these big old weird carpeted speakers. I think a buddy's dad might have been a DJ or had something, but nothing serious. But it was like passed down equipment that I got access to. And it was cool.
Yeah, we had the carpeted speakers with the big subwoofers on the wheels.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like we did a high school dance with them. But thank God the family had a station wagon, because that's the only way we would get them around.
I think I used to rent U-Haul trucks, which is even weirder, right? Like to think about, like, yeah.
The promotion's interesting because a lot of DJs get into like the playing. Promotion's probably like the hardest part. It's the part where everyone, like a lot of DJs struggle because they're like, I just want to play and I just want everyone to magically show up. So it's interesting that you either took to that or you saw that promotion was the one thing that you needed to bring the crowds in. Yeah,
I think hindsight is now 2020, right? Yeah. Like I feel differently about promoting now than I did then. I shouldn't say I feel differently. I think I've learned a lot since then. But I think the idea of being able to tell a story of something that was going to happen before it happened, to get people to buy into the idea of what this thing could be, was really intoxicating. To think about that, I'm going to tell a story because I believe what we've built. Yeah. Right. And I hope what we've built is going to show up on the other side. Yeah. But then being able to go out and tell that story and romanticize it in a way that it's going to be the most amazing thing you've ever seen. Right. And so less about come hear me play. Right. I also think that that's a different thing when you're younger. Yeah. Right. When you've got a whole dorm or you've got a whole high school senior class, or you've got you have a group of friends that then have a group of friends, is a different thing when you're younger than when you're of my age and promoting music in a different way where it's different than it was then. And so it's kind of thinking about trying to get people to come was less about getting me to see them and more about the storytelling of what I believed was going to happen.
That's interesting that you use that phrase storytelling, because it's probably not something that a lot of people think about when they think about coming to a party and dancing. We're just gonna have a good time. Everyone's gonna get wasted and high and stuff. But this concept of telling a story, who inspired you to think like that?
Man, that is a good question. I think that I've got a weird storytelling gene that probably came from my dad. Right? I think there's a fine line between storytelling and lying.
Oh wow!
Right,
yeah.
Right, where I was able to I think differentiate the two. Maybe I couldn't differentiate the two when I was younger. Yeah. Now I believe I can, but the idea that I would watch him. He was a salesman his whole life. Okay. My grandfather was a salesman his whole life. Okay. My grandfather drove. Again, talk about delivering phone books is a wild job. My grandfather was a candle salesman that drove from church to church selling them candles. Wow. Right? But candles are a commodity. Yeah. And so thinking about the stories that need to be told in order to have this guy that's showing up, that's the one you're buying from. And so I think that I probably come from this line, and again, you get older and you look at it and say oh yeah, of course that's how that happened. But at the time I didn't see myself as a salesman or it was just kind of where that skill or quality showed up.
Yeah, because if you think about the best salespeople, they're able to get people to buy in to the story, like you said, and of the product, of the offering, and they have to have the gift of gab and also the gift of personality, because you could say the right words, but if you act like an asshole and no one's going to want to do business with you, right?
Correct. And also if you paint it too big a few times and it doesn't turn out that way, right? In the same way that sales guys, you tell them this is the snake oil that's going to save everything. Yeah. And after a couple of times, oh, wait a minute, that's not actually what's happening there. Yeah.
I think the lineage is the candle wax to the pressed wax.
I like that. Okay. We'll have a whole flow chart and family tree that Yeah, that's it.
So as you started getting into the promotion and thinking about the parties here, did you have an idea of like what you wanted to do, and maybe talk about the beginning of where you started with present day?
Yeah, I think early on, I was thinking about this and how it was not intentionally that I've evolved in the way that I think about promoting parties. I think it's just happened. And I think early on, it was really, I'm going to book DJs that I think can do something for me. Right? I'm going to book a DJ because I believe they can bring 500 people.
Okay.
I'm going to book a DJ because I believe that it's going to help me pay my rent this month. I'm going to book a DJ. Yes, I enjoyed promoting the party.
Yeah.
But also it was like this weird gambling in a way, right? So I'm going to do this thing that if I believe in myself enough, it's going to do this thing. And in order to do that thing, I need this other thing.
Yeah.
And I think that early on, that was really kind of the gamble and the skill. And I will tell you, there is nothing worse than promoting a party in Minneapolis in the middle. I'm not going to end there. That's not the end of the sentence. In the middle of the winter, and a storm rolls in, and you've got a DJ that you flew in from one of the coasts.
Oh.
And you've got $300 in your hand.
Yeah.
And you owe him $2,500. And you have to go to the ATM. Right? Like that is... Shit. All of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, this is
that's what I signed up for.
This is not a business. This really is a gamble.
Yeah.
Right. And you're gambling on everything. Like, sure, you can go out and do the storytelling.
Yeah.
But there are so many like
outside
forces and factors that you have no control over that you need to dial in. And so, kind of thinking about how that's evolved for me, that wasn't fun. That started fun, right? It started fun because I had a string of good luck early on, where I could go out and storytell, and we could bring the right DJs in and create the right environment and do these things. And then one party would build off the next one, and we'd be able to reinvest whatever we made off that one into a bigger party, go out and tell that story of how everything's getting bigger. I mean, at one point, we flew in the Dark Side of the Moon laser and the guy that ran it. Like, the guy that was on tour for the Dark Side of the Moon tour with his laser, we had it in Minneapolis. Like the storytelling that I was like, that you're able to do around that, I'll never forget. Sitting with this guy up in the rafters of a warehouse. He's got his bounce mirrors. He's bouncing this laser all over, and he leans in and lights a cigarette off the laser.
Oh,
it was, let's keep it up here.
Kids watch kids' hands off of that.
Right, almost like everyone's eyes are, there's a whole generation of people that can't see.
That's funny.
But like thinking about where I am at now, promoting shows and bringing people together, it's such a different thing. And I think that it's come out of meeting people and experiencing people and talking to people and realizing that it's everything I do now is nonprofit. I'm not a nonprofit, but the goal is that's when it's fun for me. That's when I believe in it the most. When I'm not, oh man, I hope I have $500 in my pocket at the end of this. It's, can this thing sustain itself? Can we all keep experiencing this feeling? But I think it's a weird high. Where I'm experiencing something, the dancers are experiencing something, the DJs are experiencing something, the venue staff are experiencing something. And that changes when you have a different motive than just the feeling. But like, people should make money. I'm not saying people shouldn't, but that's where it changed for me.
Talk a little bit about that feeling, or that vibe that you're going for, because I feel it when you explain it, because when it hits, and when you throw the parties and the crowd and the energy just comes and you get those goosebumps. So talk a little bit about what that's like. It's obviously something you can't manufacture, but when it happens, it's like a nice moment.
I wish there was a word for it. So I'm having fun. But I'm like vibezilla, right? Maybe I don't know if that's the right word,
that's
but
a good one.
The beginning of the party, I am so laser focused because I've now told myself the story of what's about to happen.
Sure.
That if something's going wrong or something doesn't go the way it sequentially should in my head, right? It's a problem. But because I'm chasing that high, and the feeling to me is like, man, when you talk to someone that you've never met, that is feeling a way, that you've created a space for them to have an emotion or a feeling or a connection or whatever that word is that they didn't have when they walked in. That's cool.
It's very
right.
cool.
It's almost like when you introduce like two friends that end up getting married. You're like, I knew this was going to happen. I knew that when I invited you into this room. In the same way, like, can I put together an environment where when people walk in, they feel like they're a part of something, where it's not about me. That's another like evolution, I believe. Like, it's not about me.
Yeah.
I love doing the thing.
Yeah.
I love when people thank me. I love high fives and hugs.
Yeah.
But it's not about me. Like, it's about what happens in that space.
Yeah.
And I think that you talked earlier where you're like, hey, I'm a DJ hustling. How do I get all my friends into the room to see me? And how do I make sure that I walk out with more than some drink tickets? I think that is the payoff now is this idea of like, I've created something that didn't exist yesterday, that won't exist tomorrow.
Yeah. Moment in time.
And that thing that's happening, I'm not trying to recreate it the next time. Right? It's not like, cool, we had this cool vibe and someone cried and someone fell in love and someone danced and sweated. Like, that's not how I go into the next part. Sure. It's like, I want to create the thing where I believe someone's going to come in and experience something that's about them. Yeah.
If I were to ask like your friends or family, if this has always been like in your nature, it seems like this giving nature, this want to do well for others. Some of it may just be a Midwestern sensibility that I'm coming to know and appreciate coming from big cities. But I'm wondering if someone had to point it out and saying, why is Nick the way he is?
You know, I think you remember two kinds of people. You remember assholes.
Yeah.
And you remember people that are generous. Right? Like everyone else, they're there, but like you don't remember them. But when you see the guy that was an asshole, you remember that guy. Yeah. And in the same way, when you see the guy that's generous, like you remember him. Yeah. And I think that, again, I have not been this way my whole life. So to your point of like this Midwest sensibility of I act this way, I feel this way, that was not me. Right? I thought I was real hard and real tough and real cool.
You got the Nick Gunz.
Correct, right? I was going to be a rapper, and I was never going to be a rapper. But I think the idea that like showing up generously, and if you really, as you get older, and you can stop and say, how do I want to show up?
Like that.
Who is the person I want to show up as? Yeah. If someone's going to remember me tomorrow morning, do they want to remember me as the asshole? Yeah. Or as the guy that showed up generously? Yeah. And that choice for me is easy.
What's the thing about organizing parties, because it's all that behind the scenes stuff and lugging around the gear like we talked about and having the gear and buying it and maintaining it, like what the non-glamorous stuff. But like, you know, if you had to point to the things most people don't realize about the hard work that goes in before the doors open, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think so. I own all my own gear. Yeah. And I think the thing that no one will ever realize, I don't think, is the amount of money I spend on cables, right? You come to the party and you're like, oh, cool, this is a break even and everyone's breaking even. Like, no, Nick spent $500 on cables this month just to make sure that everything, like if a cable went out, we can replace it. Because that's what happens. Yeah. Like when you're talking about a club installation and everything's plugged in and nothing gets unplugged. Yeah. All right, cool. We'll leave this like this for a couple decades. But when you're talking about things that get unplugged, hauled out, loaded into a trailer, parked, wrapped, unwrapped, that's a different thing.
For sure.
And so that's probably one piece that is, and then also like gear lust.
And never ends.
But in this expectation I've set of myself of creating the best possible experience and one that kind of builds on itself. Yeah. There is a piece of me that wants to say, all right, you experienced this thing last time. Mm-hmm. Now the next time you experience this thing, it's going to be different or better or something else. Yeah. And that's a piece that I struggle with. You know, I had a fantasy for a while. This is Nick's fantasy hour. I had a fantasy for a while that every party I threw had a different sound system. That sound system only showed up at that party.
Interesting.
So that you couldn't mistake where you were. Okay. Right? So I'm dancing in front of this sound system and I know I'm here. And when I go to this thing, it sounds different. It looks different. Yeah. I'm in a different space. Yeah. And so that's the place I get in my head when you're talking about gear or like the things that happen behind the scenes. You know, I'll mention one more thing behind the scenes people are always asking me how I get the DJs I get to come to Minneapolis. Yeah. And I joke, there's probably too much truth to it, that my party happens one day a month. Mm-hmm. I spend 29 days convincing people, not convincing, but like telling the story of what happens on that one day to the people out of town. Yeah. So that they can paint a picture in their head of what they're walking into. Mm-hmm. This isn't one of the top 10 clubs in the world. Yeah. But we're not flying into New York City for an exclusive set on the rooftop of blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Like, you're going to come, you're DJing in a food hall in South Minneapolis, and it's free and it's all ages. Yeah. But painting the story and explaining, and also being able to have other people tell the story now. Yeah. People they trust and know are like, oh, the story Nick told you is true. Yeah. That is what happens there. Yeah.
That's great. How much of a stickler are you for like this owning what comes out of those speakers? Because you have to deal with the environment as well. So there's echoes of stuff bouncing off the walls, and I'm sure you're doing sound checks, but at the end of the day, you're at the mercy of like what the environment is providing.
I think the hardest moment I have during my parties is when the party's full. Yeah. And someone says, "Hey, Nick, there's something wrong with the left speaker." Right? And I talked to her like, all right, cool. I've got this bin of cables, lots of cables, but I'm not going to stop the music and start over. Yeah. Like that is we're going to chalk that one up for
next time.
That sucks. Yeah. But because I think that, if it was a different thing and I had a wall of bass and I was here and you paid $100 to get in the room, like that's a different thing than, hey, Nick hauled this whole thing out here, set it up. It worked and now something's going wrong. And so I want it to sound the best it can. Yeah. But also, like, I think I look for a little bit of sympathy is the wrong word, but I look for empathy. Yeah. That things could go wrong, and
I just saw a Derek Carter set. I forgot where he was playing, but the monitor as he was playing just literally fell onto the CDJ as he was playing, but he just like a true pro, he's just like kept it going, and everything went off, and he's just like, everyone knows it's like we're not trying to be super perfect here, and I think people are more forgiving when they realize like there's another human being at the other
that happened to me 2 years ago at my birthday party. We're there, and the speaker rattled off the top of the subs and went through the glass garage door.
Whoa!
In November, and so here we have a full room of people. There's now a hole in the window.
Wow.
Like, it's going to get cold. And there's DJs playing. Yeah. And we didn't stop the music.
Nice.
We patched it, but like, what now?
Yeah, yeah.
I've never experienced that before. But I mean, I think the idea of being able to roll with those punches. Yeah. And figure out, all right, what do we do now?
It feels like if the crowd is bought in, they can go along on the ride with you. I remember a party in New York where, sound went off for whatever reason, something got unplugged, and the crowd just started stomping their feet and clapping their hands and singing like a cappella versions of songs. And we were going for about probably like 5 minutes, and enough time for the DJ to just get back in it, and then just he ended up mixing up the music into our a cappella, like stomping in. It was just actually a fun. I still talk about it, right? Because I remember it. Because you remember, like,
how long ago was this?
Like 10 years ago, maybe.
Right? You remember that? You remember the generosity? Whatever. You remember those things? Yeah. Like, how many mediocre nights have you experienced? Like
a lot.
But you probably don't remember one of those. Yeah. You remember those moments where you're like, I felt this way, and this thing happened, and then everything happened.
It was a vibe for sure. So talk about the the origins and the evolution of Dave Funk. Like, what were your thoughts going into it? Had you tried different versions of the parties before you landed at Dave Funk?
So I mean, I promoted parties for a lot of years, in all different styles, right? All night long, warehouse, nightclub, big nightclub, small nightclub. And really, Dave Funk was an idea. I'll give full credit. So in Chicago, there's a party called Brunch Locks.
Okay.
And Brunch Locks has been happening. I think it's 15 years it's been happening, something like that. Carl Almeria is the DJ and promoter behind that. And what it was he had a restaurant space.
Yeah.
A restaurant that maybe wasn't doing any business during the day on a Sunday. That let him set up a sound system. I mean, originally started actually in his garage.
Yeah.
It was a backyard party that then moved into a restaurant space. But like this idea of a day party that happens on a Sunday, playing house music, happens in every major city in America.
Yeah.
And for some reason, not for some reason, it wasn't happening here.
Yeah.
Right? Yet there's Sunday parties. There are people that are doing great Sunday parties in Minneapolis.
Dance church,
Yeah, dance church, communion. There's all sorts of great Sunday parties in Minneapolis. But there was no one that was doing that thing where it was like, we're going to bring together a group of people of all ages, of all walks of life, around music around an experience that makes us feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And what my goal was to throw a party that I wanted to go to.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Day Funk was the idea from day one.
Okay.
Was really, this was the thing that I want to do. Day Funk now looks different than day one looked.
Okay.
Right? It was...
What did day one, Day Funk look
oh man, is this thing going to work? And so I still believe this. And I was on a tear for 5 years. I'd go out, listen to DJs. There'd be no one in the room. I'd go and listen to house music, and it was sparsely attended. Mm. And I'd come home, and I'd talk to my wife, and I'd say, I know how to fix this. Mm. If you book these 8 DJs on the same day, because they come from different backgrounds, but they all overlap. Yeah. If you put them all on the roster in the lineup on the same day, I believe you can make something happen. Mm. But my pitch when I'd come home and tell my wife this was like, this is what someone else is doing wrong. Yeah. And eventually one night I came home and she's like, just do that. Yeah. Like, stop talking about it. Like, you think that's going to work? Do it.
Okay. Kudos to her.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to her because, you know, I was raising kids for a decade and a half. Like, I still am raising kids, but like, I was in this place of being a dad, and then all of a sudden COVID hit. Yeah. She's like, you need a hobby because like this is working, but this isn't working. Like you need an outlet for this energy. And so got back into DJing. At that point, my goal was to record a mix every week. Yeah. Could I put out a mix every Friday? Okay. And I did that. And then after a year, I was like, I think I want more. And really looked around and said, I don't think I want a club night. I don't think I want a place where I'm gambling on the ATM to make sure that people come through and I can pay people. Yeah. And so that's really where kind of the idea of Day Funk formed and grew out of.
So how many years running now?
This is 3 years.
Okay. And it's always been East Street?
Yep, always been in East Street with the exception of one. Okay. Right. So 2 months ago when the massacre on Nicollet Avenue happened. Yeah. It was a tough call, but we chose not to cancel Day Funk because it creates that space for people. Yeah. But we moved that one as a way to provide space. Yeah. But got back to East Street as quickly as possible. I love that space. Yeah. I was married in that space.
Really?
I've like deep connections to that building. Yeah. To going back, I mean, years and years and years.
Yeah, so that's nice to have that connection. It's like you have a connection with this space itself. It's got to be really special. And the fact that you continue to have the party, even with all the stuff and the mayhem of ICE, speaks to your character. So talk a little bit about why that was important in that moment. And you had that moment of silence as well on the dance floor that the crowd responded to.
I'm going to cry right now just thinking about it. Like, that was not planned. Yeah. Right? I'm like, this is the thing. And the idea of creating space, I never understood that idea when I was younger. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm going to go into the club and I'm going to be there and then I'm going to leave and like, I'm going to go outside and smoke cigarettes or whatever I'm going to do. Sure. And the idea of creating space where like people can feel how they're going to feel is I think the thing that I've learned about as I've gotten older, where like, I might have had the worst week of my life. I might have had the best day of my life. I might have had some issue on my way in, but like the idea of showing up and I arrive in a space that is willing to embrace me, whether I've had a good day, a bad day, a good week, whatever is happening in my life. Yeah. And I think that when I stepped back and said, all right, should we cancel Day Funk? Right? I mean, the Alex Preddy murder happened a day before Day Funk was going to happen. And here I am like, okay, like I'm not a social justice. I mean, like I'm not the right guy for that. Yeah. But what I believe, like after I sat and thought about it, what I believed I was the right guy for is like, I think we can still provide space.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that we can use our cause for good. I think we can raise money. I think that there's people that show up with generosity.
Yeah.
I think we've cultivated those people that show up
Yeah.
with generosity and with open arms. And so the idea of we're not going to cancel, we're going to move. It's funny. I'm going to go back on everything I just said. I lost money.
Yeah.
I did DJ on a plane coming in from New York, and I had no way of paying him other than out of my pocket.
Wow.
And so rather than canceling, this has to keep happening.
Yeah.
Because everyone keeps showing up for me, right? The way I feel, the way it makes me feel, the way it makes you feel, the way it makes the dancers and DJs feel. It had to happen. Again, not for me, but for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. You end up developing a relationship. Thank you for sharing that. That was pretty, it was a special moment. I saw that online too. And that speaks to like the people that keep coming back. And I know I see familiar faces, and I haven't been attending all of them like you've been throwing them. And from that end of the decks, you see the same faces coming up, day in, party after party. And what is that? How special is that? Because it's the Day Funk family at this point, right?
It is. Yeah. We came out with a new hat last month. There was the Day Funk Social Club, which I think I find very funny. Like I'm very into it because it's almost like a country club, right? Where you see the same people, and the same people are in and out. But like, there are people that come to Day Funk every month that I didn't know 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. There are people that I now have relationships with that I can show up for emotionally or as a friend, like in whatever way.
Sure.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
That this thing has brought us together because of that space and the way we're allowed to feel. It is really special.
Yeah.
I'm not under the illusion that it's going to be the same people forever.
Yeah.
I hope it is.
Yeah.
But I also realize that life ebbs and flows.
Yeah. Right.
And sometimes you need different things now than you did then. But the people that keep coming back, I don't think that they come back because they have an obligation. Right? They don't come back as an obligation to me.
Yeah.
That they hope they see me and they hope that I see them, and that okay,
reciprocity.
I'm going to check it off on my list that so-and-so came back five times this year.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's all about how we feel together.
Love that. So talk a little bit about your personal style, DJing. How did you find that? What were some of your inspirations, and how did you land at the style you currently play now?
I think that what inspired me early on was really this, I would say, a hot mix sound.
Okay.
And I never got good at it because I didn't realize at the time that they weren't actually playing records. Right? The idea of what Bad Boy Bill was doing on the radio was not slamming 10 records in a minute.
Yeah.
It was that he had a whole set built in Pro Tools and they were doing the thing. And sure, maybe he was mixing over the top of it, but it was a different thing.
Sure.
And so, but that idea of like, could we create this hour of like these highs? I appreciate all the genres, subgenres of house music, whether it's deep or Afro or whatever the thing is that you're into. What I'm into is like things, sounds, words, melodies that make me feel. And I think that at least to me is the through line. Yeah. It could be a bass line. It could be a vocal loop. It could be a vocal. It could be a piano. It could be the way a drum drops out.
Yeah.
But I think that it's all about that way that track makes me feel. And so I don't know if I'm unique. Like I don't sit and shop for music with other people anymore. Like just to go record shopping. But I think when I look for music now or when I listen to music now, it's how does it make me feel? And how can I imagine that feeling being then conveyed to people that were listening to the song?
How do you do your crate digging nowadays?
I mean, it's a lot of digital. I'm also very, 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 very fortunate to be connected with all the people that come through Day Funk. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie. I've not even gone through, I probably have, I have so much music I've never listened to. Yeah. Right. And I'm excited about that. Yeah. Because I own the music. Yeah. And now I spend time going through like, so-and-so sent me everything they've made in the last decade.
Wow.
Cool. Wow. Like, And so I'll make it through the first 10. I'm like, oh, these 3 are fire. Like this exactly how I want to feel.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of that. It's a combination of like hearing and being inspired. The station that's been on I've been listening to disco.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Which is so funny. Like I really hope there's no hidden camera spying on me because it's just such a nerdy thing, right? Like here I am, the year 2026, rolling around listening to songs that were made in the late 70s. But like
some of the classics, they hold up, man.
But even, like some of the classics, they hold up. But even some of the non-classics, they have that element that make you feel something.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think there's some inspiration there. So like, it's not unusual for me to be listening to something old that I know never came out as a house edit to be like, who did someone do something with this? Because that thing makes me feel something. And that's usually, I would say 7 times out of 10 how I add music, where like I hear something that is not related to house music. Then go seek it out and say like, does this thing exist here? And what does that look like?
It's always exciting when I'm listening to a SoundCloud mix and I'm like, oh, that track is fire. And then I go look it up and it's like a 10-year-old track. I'm like, it's impossible to think you could keep up with all the music coming out. It's just so fast now, but that's a good feeling to see that there's stuff you can still discover.
Yeah, I think, we're living in an era where there's unlimited music.
Yeah.
Literally, unlimited. You and I could live the rest of our lives and never be able to hear the tracks that came out this week.
Yeah. It's true.
And so when you think about that, it's how do I find that feeling and not like it's almost like, again, like that addiction. It's not like, oh, it's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
It's finding the thing and sticking with the thing that makes you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And continuing down that path as opposed to like, I've got to hear it all.
Yeah.
I'm sure the next one's in there. That's never been me.
And I think most DJs they end up playing with their, they'll have the thousands of tracks on their laptop. They just keep coming back to the bangers that keep like doing it for them. So
yeah, I mean, it's the way you feel.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about curation in terms of like the DJs that you bring in and how you put them together, how you decide who goes first, and because that's a whole experience in of itself. Like when done properly, and you got a nice set of DJs going back to back and ending up, it just felt like a progression that led up to like a symphony at the end.
Yeah, I think I always had a bias. I never wanted to be an opening DJ, right? And I think since I've started Day Funk, I've probably opened Day Funk more than I've ever done anything.
Yeah.
And which has really put this value on the curation of the day and the feeling and the experience. Mm-hmm. And so I always start with who's coming in from out of town and what is the feeling I believe that what's the story I'm telling myself about how they're going to show up.
Yeah.
And from there, then I book locals around it. I do book really against time slots where I can imagine what needs to happen here and here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you can imagine, like, I have a whole list of locals that come up to me every week.
Yeah.
Different people. I'm not saying the same people.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd love to play. I'd love to do this. Like, all right, cool. Send me a mix.
Yeah.
Because then it's less about like, oh, I'm going to slot you into the next event.
Sure.
And more so of, hey, I'm building this feeling that's going to happen on this time.
Yeah.
And that feeling that you sent me, hopefully you show up with that same feeling.
Yeah.
Is able to then translate through.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. And obviously your search or your continuation of developing relationships has to keep going. Like you said, 29 days out of the month, you're still building those. So without maybe giving too much away, are there DJs you're working on that we should be getting excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I think that someone asked me who my favorite Day Funk set was by, or who my favorite Day Funk DJ I brought through.
That's a tough one.
And I am so personally attached to everyone that has come through because they've shaped the way that I hear music, and the way that I experience that thing from all different angles, right? Whether it's DJ Sluggo, like Ghetto House and Juke is something that I love. We had Ron Carroll, who was, I mean, like the Minister of Sound to, we've had, I'm not going to go through and drop all the names, but like everyone that is on the roster all the way through the summer, I am excited about.
Yeah.
I would not be unwilling to promote that event if I felt that I was just bringing through filler.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And I think that that's the difference I talked about early on, where I believe I'm going to book this person because they're going to bring 500 people in the room.
Sure.
That's no longer the way I do it. Do I believe in this, the thing that I'm bringing, the person that's coming, and the story that I can tell about who they are, why they were chosen.
Yeah.
Yes, we have our core that's going to come back.
Yeah.
But also then it attracts other people who are like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That guy played at the Warehouse before he was the opener before Frankie Knuckles. Are you kidding me? Like, yeah. So I'm unwilling to give previews.
That's okay. You'll have to come to the party to find out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if we're having this conversation a year from now, what would need to have happened for you to look back and be like, that was a good year for Dave Funk?
I think if people keep showing up with the energy and the positivity they do, I think if we can continue to push the sound of house music, I think that definitely not a purist, but I think that there's a risk of losing house music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I believe that. Like, I believe that if people that are currently pushing house music stopped, I don't see a real strong lineup to pick it up. And that's not against anyone else, right? Like, that's like old man, get off my lawn shit. Right? That's not my intention.
Yeah.
But I think that if I look back a year from now and say, what was a success? It's that we keep pushing the sound, that we keep introducing people to a music that I believe can make us feel a certain way and change things for the better. And I think that if we keep doing that, that will be a success.
Yeah.
Right? It's not monetary. It's not, twice as many people came. Or we haven't had a fight. Or, right? Like that's...
No speakers fell through the garage door.
Knock on wood. That'll never happen again. But like those are all incidentals. But I think that the idea of pushing something that I don't want, that I'm not willing to let go of, if that can keep happening, that'd be a success.
I love that. And lastly, just kind of, we always like to end the episode with any thoughts you have about the up and coming culture of new DJs or people looking. There's no shortage of people trying to be DJ now, and there's a lot of good and bad inspiration on Instagram. So if you want to, we talked about keeping this sound of this vibe of house alive. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that one thing that I wish I would have learned earlier is that it's not about me. Yes, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do a thing that I know how to do. Yeah. It's about the dancers, and beyond the dancers, it's about all the people that show up to the party. And I think that if I was up and coming and I was promoting and I was DJing and I was doing all those things and trying to build an audience, I would figure out a way to make it less about me and more about the people that I'm trying to make feel a certain way. Yeah. Right? Still about me because I'm like trying to influence them. But if I can tap into that emotion of why they feel that way, it's less about like begging, I shouldn't use the word begging, convincing 20 of my buddies to come out on a Wednesday night and hear me play. And more about people that want to be in that room because of the way it makes them feel. And I think I wish I would have learned that earlier. And if I was 20, 30 years older than or younger than I am now, that'd be the thing that I'd hone in on because I believe that is unique based on, to your point of what you're seeing with all over Instagram and all over wherever it is. It's all about them versus the way that people feel when they're in the thing you're doing. Yeah.
It's almost like they've forgotten about why it is that they're up there and what their purpose is.
It's like I get it. Like it's fun to be a rock star. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Like if I could turn the switch tomorrow and be like, man, private jet, we're going to have everything taken care of and you just have to show up and like rock out. Yeah. Great. But it's not reality. And I think if you want something that's sustainable, it's less about you and more about the people and the way you make them feel.
That's awesome. That's a great way to wrap up this chat. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. It's been fun to see that arc of the early influences and you in that. I'm just picturing you in that car with that stuck tape deck and looping it, but that those seeds were being planted early on, and then the early influences from your fellow promoters, and it's hard to kind of put the pieces together if you just look back like one day, but when you start looking back weeks and months and years, you can kind of see how everything that came together coalesced into what is now Nick Gunz, and I appreciate your time, man. Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you.
So we're going to go after this, do a little back-to-back DJ set, so stick around. I'm looking forward to it.